Zack leads from the front. Jye goes again. Nate Dogg regulates, and it's the powerful win over the Pies. This is the Sash, definitely not the official podcast of the Essendon Football Club. I'm your host, Rob, here with you on the Monday review show, and very happy to be joined by James. Hello, mate.
Hello, Rob. Doesn't get old beating Collingwood, does it? Jeez,
No.
I love it.
Yeah.
I grew up in a household with a dad that's had the favourite saying, you know, there's nothing better than Essendon winning, but there is one thing, and that's Collingwood losing. And they both happened on Saturday, on Friday night. So, yeah, very, very happy. Still riding the high. And, we're well on our way. And when I was leaving the G, I ran into Jesse, who well and truly let me know that the train is back on the tracks. There was a couple of choo-choos. So shout out to Jesse.
Oh, lovely. And Ryan, sorry, how you going, mate?
Yeah, pretty good. James, I think there might be one thing better than beating the Pies, though. Carlton lost, Richmond lost, Hawthorn lost. It's exactly what you want on the weekend.
weekend.
Oh, it was so good.
Sydney lost, I'll throw them in there too. Yep.
Yeah, Sydney lost too. Oh, geez, they're officially done, aren't they? They're over. So it's ours for the taking. Surely. No, great weekend and a perfect Friday night.
Yes, it was. I guess I'll ask you boys, how are you feeling with a couple of minutes to go there in the first quarter? Because I sat with a couple of Pies fans, and one of them remarked to me at quarter time, he's like, gee, you went really quiet in that first quarter, didn't you? And I was like, yeah, I was a bit concerned, and then got a bit of pressure release when Stringer kicked that late goal. But how are you feeling in the first quarter there?
Yeah, not great. It was a bit of deja vu, as we were speaking about off air. You know, we've seen this all before, and Chris kicking his third, you thought, gee, it's not looking good. But that Stringer goal, I thought, was massive for us, and it felt like a real smashing. But when you looked at the scoreboard, I think it was only a couple of goals. So I certainly felt like we just stuck around, and obviously that momentum change, which, you know, after last week when we couldn't stop that momentum, really pleased that Stringer could get that one just late, just to settle. And then we came out and sort of turned up from then on. But yeah, it was a worry early.
How are you coping, Ryan?
Yeah, look, boys, I'm not going to lie. It was emotional. It was a real roller coaster in that first quarter. You know, I kind of went in, probably with that same sort of air of delusion that I did going into the Geelong game, going, well, this is nearly our best team. We should be okay. They're not at their best. We should be okay. But few goals in, it was looking very 2023, real Rutten ball sort of stuff. A lot of problems coming out of the back line, and kicking into the 50 weren't great. But you're spot on. When, nothing probably in the whole game was more important than Jake Stringer's goal just after the quarter time siren, because it just felt like we were really able to, it felt like it trimmed whatever they'd done to us in half. Just getting 2 goals on the board, just go, okay, cool. It's a little under 3 goals. I just couldn't believe it was only 15 points. You're so right, James. It did feel like we were getting crushed, but to only have it at 15 points was probably a low-key positive, really.
Yeah, I watched the game back with, obviously the comfort of knowing the result. And, we did actually, it was the same scoring shots at the end of the quarter. And if you include Harrison Jones' terrible attempt at the first shot of goal very early on, we actually had almost more opportunities than they did in that first term. But yeah, I think it was just the way that it just kind of went bang. I think someone said that we might have only touched the ball once or twice between those 3 Cripps goals. That's how quickly it all just kind of happened. We were like, oh, okay, this is an issue now. Me always going, oh, yeah, it's going to be them running the ball out of the back line as they do. But no, they were just killing us from stoppage straight away. I was like, okay, this is not good. But look, we arrested momentum, as they like to say. We got it back on our terms, and the rest is history, and we got the win. And yeah, what a nice way to start a weekend with a big win over the Pies. There's few things better than that. I saw plenty of people online being like, oh, look, now we've beaten another side in the 8. I was like, they're not going to be in the 8th ever round, but it doesn't matter. But it's funny, in mainstream media, how within last week, we'd fallen apart losing the Cats, and now we're a contender having beaten Collingwood. And I'm like, look, I don't think it's quite either of those, but it's nice to be back on the positive side of the media this week.
Yeah, a week's a long time in football, as they say, and I think these last 2 weeks have been proof of that. I think for me, and I know, I try and be glass half full most of the time, which can be pretty tough when you support the red and black. But I think I was happy to give us a bit of a pass or a mulligan, as they say, last week. I think you could really see, the deflation in that third quarter when the umpires, made it pretty difficult for us. And, Scott spoke about that during the week, that we probably didn't, find a way to stop that momentum or pick ourselves back up after a bit of a shitty run. So to come out on Friday night, and again, the first quarter wasn't great, but the ability for the team to settle, work their way into the game, start to get that uncontested game going, start to break even throughout the midfield and the contest, was really proud of the response. And, I was happy to give them a pass as long as they came out and produced, and they did. So I'm hoping this is the real kickstart. We've seen the last few years how teams start to hit their straps at the right time. We've probably had our down period, it's fair to say, even though we have been scraping through with some wins against some weaker opposition. I really hope this is the kickstarter for us to hit the end of the year strong and hopefully, dare I say it, hit the finals with some momentum.
Yeah, I think you're so right about that Geelong game and kind of just letting us let one slip there. Because, look, let's just be honest, Geelong's probably made a deal with Satan that we just can't break, because the fact that after all these years, they're still good. I mean, you even look what they did against Hawthorn. Hawthorn's been playing really well, and they just took them apart. So I'm putting this down to a satanic cult, so that's fine. No problem. But the thing about the game that was really interesting to me, it was really quite an it was actually almost the exact opposite of the week prior. You spoke about that third quarter where we had those really tough decisions go against us. And, every Collingwood supporter will tell you now that, you had the umpires, this week because you complained the week before. Don't care. Don't care. That third quarter, we were able to get everything going. We were able to use that momentum we had in the second. And granted, we probably closed up shop a bit early in the fourth, but I think all the work had been done. I think about that goal Caldwell kicked in that last quarter. That great tackle, nice. Finally actually utilising the 360 rule and holding the ball. Finally seeing it being used was nice. Yep. And then I love that yap because I thought to myself when he was yapping just before he went for the goal, I thought, geez, easy, Jye, easy. we haven't won yet. Haven't won a final in 20 years, easy. But he went back and slotted it. Was just perfect. So yeah, I mean, Friday nights don't really get much better. I mean, as a 36-year-old. Yeah. Watching parts of it back today, and I'm pretty sure the commentary almost goes, it's like, one more and Essendon have done this. And literally it's moments later that he lays that tackle and you're like, yes, they have. And like you said, we did kind of shut up shop there a little bit towards the end and sort of let them come back in. We know Collingwood, they're always going to make a charge towards the end of the game. But I actually almost think the scoreboard kind of flattered them, to be honest. Big time. There's definitely a few really good opportunities there, particularly late with a few of our more reliable set shots. Obviously, young Nate Dog Caddy missing a couple as well. But, this could very easily be a 20, even 30-point win with a few swings of the ball going either way. But yeah, so good. Can we talk about the fact though that, and this sounds like Nuffies are us, but
hey, this is the place. This is the place.
We're here.
Welcome.
Let's think about this. We've beaten them relatively convincingly.
Yeah.
We drew Anzac Day. If you take out the absolute schmozzle that was the last round of 2023, we played really well in Anzac Day last year, sorry.
Yeah.
And probably let ourselves down. We had a really good lead there, should have probably won it.
Yes.
And even going back, they haven't really smashed us. I was amazed we hadn't beaten them since
2021. But yeah, it's just that one outlier was that real big score. But I think this is just
strangely enough. I think we line up against them pretty well. And it kind of gives me some positivity, for the future that I don't have to be stressed to the max every time we play them. Maybe we have a chance going forward. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, we don't need to analyse Collingwood for very long, but I think the concern for them is that outside of Dacos, their best three players are their most senior players.
Yeah.
And when Pendlebury, Sidebottom go, which will be very soon, Chris maybe has a little bit longer to go. Once they're gone, it's Nick Dacos and who else? I know Josh was a bit off for his usual high stands. He's obviously a very good player. But yeah, I think there's a real gap from the old boys, Nick, and anyone else.
And the old boys, at the moment, at least. And the old boys, again, they were probably some of the best on the night. I was still sitting there. I was watching. How is Pendlebury still getting it out of the centre so easily?
Yeah.
How does Sidebottom still look relatively fast? They're kind of freaks, really.
Yeah.
I think to compound that point, though, as well, Noble and McCreary were two really big outs for them, and probably a little bit underrated in I guess, the mainstream media, because they're not the big names that we know of Collingwood. But I think we all knew as footy fans that they were two big outs. They provide a lot of run and spread and pace into a team that's probably lacking that now with some of the injuries they've got, and those older players who obviously really smart and crafty but don't provide that sheer pace. So I think those two outs were big for us, but I'm not complaining.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said to my Pies mate pre-game, he's like, "Oh, how do you think it'll go?" And I go, "Look, we drew on you on Anzac Day when both sides were relatively healthy. Now you've got a lot out." I said, if Essendon are a good team, we win this game. And if we're not, then we all know we're not a good team, because, I don't think you can cover some of those guys. And they probably had two blokes in there who were on one leg in Josh Dacos and Maynard. But hey, look, win's a win. We'll take the points. In 5 years' time, we're not going to remember the fact that McCreary and John Noble didn't play. Right. No one's going to remember that, but we'll remember the fact that we won. So that's what's important. Let's dive into the goods, boys. There's so many goods to pick out, players, things otherwise. I reckon, Ryan, you can take the new ball tonight. Off you go.
All right, let's start with the most obvious, shall we?
Yeah.
Merrett, Zack. Little Zack Meritt. I was talking to a guy at work today, and he goes, "Geez, Zack Merritt's not bad." I was like,
are they new to footy?
He was just like, he's like, "Oh, watch the game. Geez, he had a great game." I said, he does that every fucking week. And just the fact that he plays for Essendon, he just doesn't necessarily get the sort of the plaudits. But, I made the easy bet on Thursday in the preview pod that, Zack Meritt would back up his Anzac Day medal and have another ripper. It was an easy bet, but he really made me look great.
Yes.
Because 30 disposals, 80% efficiency, 1 goal, 15 score involvement, which I think is his career high now.
He had 8 or 7 at like the 15-minute mark of the second quarter.
He had 20 touches to half time.
Yeah, wild.
He's a psycho.
Yeah.
And it was only compounded again by something that I think we spoke about in the preview pod, which was Collingwood doesn't really like tagging.
No.
But the fact that you think this guy's got 20 touches to half time, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe, just maybe, we should just put someone next to him. I think it was the last goal he might have set up. I think it might have been in the last quarter. He sent it to Dersma. He had at least 10 metres on his own. It was unreal. But, aside from just him being, amazing, this pretty much makes him a top 5 Brownlow finisher, surely.
Yeah, and if Haney gets rubbed out, absolutely, he's definitely going to be in there. You'd think like more teams would have looked at the Carlton game and like Chincotta going to Merrett. And obviously Merrett still got back into the game because of how good he was defensively. But a lot of his offensive weapons were quelled by Chincotta in that game. You think there'd be more people looking at that. But, it's often that case. And, we had this, with previous coaches Essendon, where you have some people who it seemed like they go, this is our system and we do this every single week and our system stacks up no matter what. And then there's the people who are really like, it chops and changes a lot every single week. Whereas Craig McRae is a very like, we have our system. Yeah. And when you're the reigning premiers, you don't need to change the system. Like, it's pretty damn good, you've got that far. But yeah, it is surprising that they didn't do anything. But I guess you look at their team and the available guys who can do it, because you're not going to waste Nick Dacos. That's a stupid thing to do. And then the old heads probably can't run with him anymore. So you're looking at some really young kids, and like they probably just didn't have an option for it.
Yeah,
for
true.
them. So, but yeah, you'd think more teams would learn from it. And yeah, definitely going to be one to watch over the run home, because yeah, Melbourne, I'm not sure who they would run. Adelaide, same with them. But you'd think there'd be some people trying to put some more time into him, because, he is still far and away our best player.
Yeah, and I think it's his disposal, which is his greatest asset. But, he's not accumulating 30 possessions, and you're wondering, gee, has he had much of an impact on the game? If Merrett has 10 or 15, you really notice him because of his kicking, and yeah, his decision-making under pressure is unbelievable. And he sees stuff out there that others simply don't, and he's got the skills to go and hit it. So, I don't think we should be talking about tagging Merrett too much in case anyone's listening, because obviously we'd love that scenario every week. But I think Neil Bullen's been doing a bit of tagging for Melbourne. Right. Maybe he goes to him. But, the good sides will say that they enjoy having a player get tagged because they feel like it disrupts the opposition system and it allows other midfielders to get off the chain. Whether they mean that, I don't know, but he's got support around him now, which we'll obviously talk about in a moment, which has me feeling confident. Whereas in the past, if you shut down Merrett, that was it.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Jesus.
Yeah. I'll shout to Simon Goodwin, who's listening at home. Last on a Merrett, the thing I really enjoyed was just his closing speed on like these little 1%er moments, the like slapping of the ball, the little punches. There was that really, really great one late in the game where, was it Crisp or how? It was a bloke with sleeve tats. I can't remember which one it was. It was him.
Doesn't narrow it down.
Yeah,
much.
but he he was the one who did the like Andy McGrath like spoil, and then McGrath was the one who picked it up. But I was like that's captainship, leadership personified in those sort of moments, because we know what he can do offensively, and I can't remember which of the footy programs, but someone made the analogy that it was similar to how Trent Cotchin went from being an all-out ball winner to a more of a team player, and that really helped set up Richmond for what they did. And I thought that was quite interesting because Cotchin used to be that pure accumulator, and then we know what he became in the later years. So, yeah, I mean, wouldn't mind 3 flags in 5 years or 4 years. That'd be
I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll happily take it.
I'll take it.
Happily take it. James, you got a good for me?
Well, I'll go to his partner in crime whilst we're speaking about the midfield. Good segue into Jye Caldwell. Another 30 disposals, 8 clearances, 7 tackles, hit the scoreboard as well as we spoke about before, had his 21 pressure act. So another complete game.
21.
Another complete game from Calders. He's doing it on both ends now, which really seems to be the system that we're implementing in the midfield, which I'm enjoying. Can't speak highly enough of his season and his consistent improvement. He rotated on Dacos, but it wasn't just his job, which I liked as well. It seemed to be a real team mentality to go to him around stoppages. But I thought when Caldwell was with him, he was right on him a couple of times, tackling him. And whilst Dacos, as he does, gets the handball out, they're often fumbly or disrupted handballs. So I thought he did a great job, but really that whole midfield group did a good job on him. I've got down that the set shot goal and celebration was pretty ice cold. The tanned oiled arms and the double flex. I enjoyed that.
That's an all Australian tan.
And then his kicking as well. Like I've never thought of Caldwell as a real, efficient user of the footy. I sort of see him as that in and under scrappy player. But his disposal this year has been great. And there was a kick that he did coming out of defence. I think it was about 3 minutes to go in the third quarter, I think. But he did a kick coming out of defence. Yeah. He sort of could have just kicked it long down the line, and he kicked it across his body and laced out Durham. And I thought that's just a guy that's really confident in his footy and in his ability at the moment. And yeah, I mean, to have another nice kick through that midfield from someone who I really probably didn't think had that weaponry. Another complete game. I'm really enjoying his season.
Yeah, exactly. He's really just thriving with the opportunity he's got now, and really showing why we went so hard to get him from GWS and did what we had to do. It was funny. I was thinking about. I know last week I was talking about the elimination Bulldogs loss, but I was actually thinking about him in that game because remember how he didn't play for like 20 weeks or something berserk? It was it was some crazy amount of time that he didn't play, and then he came in, he played that game. And I think I remember correctly, I think he had like 13 touches to like quarter time. And then he had one more touch the rest of the game because obviously he hadn't had any match fitness and really shouldn't have been selected. But that's a story for another podcast.
It's a long time ago.
You can go back into the...
We're still scarred, apparently.
I might have archived that one, to be honest. But anyway, I think about that little moment there, and I was like, holy moly, this kid can really play. And then just disappeared, didn't see much more of him, and then it's taken a bit of time to get there. But yeah, now he's just kind of at that point in his career where he can just do it week in, week out. Like, we speak about some of the other guys in the team who have a really good game and then they're down for a couple of weeks, but he just seems to be consistent, and he's just building week on week. And yeah, I think, we all probably would have had Sam Durham as our red hot number 2 for the, come second in the Crichton, but I think Jye Caldwell is making his case that the second place on the podium might be his on the run home.
You really can't argue that. It's so true that he's putting together such a piece of form here this year. It's unreal. I mean, you spoke about his consistency, and I think it's so interesting. We've had guys. You think about Jake Stringer, and you think, superstar, amazing. But one of his biggest knocks has been that he has never been able to put together, a month, 8 weeks, so on and so forth, and with the same quality every week. Jye Caldwell, him, Durham, Merrett, they do feel like a trio now. Even as much as we like Parrish and I think we all know he's in our best 22 and he's really important to the side. He hasn't necessarily been able to do that either, probably due to injury and things like that.
Not since that All Australian.
Not since that All Australian, exactly. But Jye Caldwell, just being able to know that we can set him to this standard and that he will meet it pretty much nearly every week. I mean, and he looks confident. We were talking about that mark and that yap after that, the holding the ball call and that yap. I've missed that. I mean, the AFL, I think when they put it up, I think it was Essendon in the Instas, they were like, he's got the dog in him. And I'm like, yeah, we've missed some dog.
Yeah.
We've missed some and you can look in his eye and you go, that's why you're a junior boxing champ. That you can just look at him and go, I reckon,
got that dog.
He's got that dog in him. But he's just so exciting. And, but surprisingly, he might not have been the most surprising thing in the midfield over the weekend.
Yeah, well, before I go to another dog in the side, I think if we're talking mids, I think we need to talk about Dylan Shiel coming into the side. I said in my post-match reaction video, the thing I loved about this game was how composed he felt. And look, albeit Collingwood's pressure wasn't at the absolute best that we've seen in years gone by, but there were several times where Dylan Shiel had the ball coming out of a stoppage with a fair bit of space. And if that was the, 2021 or 2019, whatever, years it was, that's going 50 metres, that kick. Just see where it goes. But most of the time he was looking for someone coming to him for hand passes. And I think he may have got a couple of goal assists by the end of the game, just from really good handballs and short kicks, and just seemed very composed on the ball. The other thing I really like is more how I think him being in the side really helped our midfield balance as a whole. Because I felt last week against Geelong, we had too few guys who were doing too much of the work. Whereas with him there was that better, extra proper midfielder rotation, which I think kind of lightened the load. Because I was going through the centre bounce attendances numbers. Last week, there was a share across, where am I? So, apologies 1 second. So Perkins 41%, Merrett 69%, Durham 62%, Stringer 31%, and Caldwell 90%. Whereas this week, a bit more of a spread where you've got Shiel 57, Stringer 29, Caldwell 79, Perkins 25, Durham 43, Merrett 68. So you've got that extra person there helping it spread the load. And because he had was it 13 or 14 touches in the last quarter or something like that? 12
disposals and 2 clearances.
Yeah. And I was going through his numbers today, and last week we were like, oh, Archie Perkins only played 62% of game time. That's the same time that Shiel had, but I think with having that extra midfielder rotation, he came in, probably played a lot of minutes in that last quarter, and was fresh and firing and ready to share the load. I think moving forward, touch wood, assuming everyone stays fit, I think we need to have that extra midfield in that rotation, because I think it makes things a lot better and it puts less pressure on some of the other guys there as well. So yeah, huge selection, and just like to see him back. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, listening to the midweek press conference from Brad Scott, you could sort of see that he was pretty excited to have Shiel back. He said something along the lines of we've been waiting for him to get his spark back, or something like that, and you could tell he was really excited. We felt, and we discussed this a couple of weeks ago, probably being a midfielder short through that rotation. So you could tell that Scott was really excited to have Dylan back and probably provide something a little bit different than some of our other midfielders in there as well. And also, you want to measure our players' sort of mindset shift and culture shift. Shiel had a team high 8 tackles as well, which is something we have never associated with Shiel, but I think it just shows, again, someone who may not have had that side of his game humming has obviously clearly bought in and done the work. You mentioned his last quarter, his experience really stood out. A couple of centre clearances, 12 disposals, whereas Merrett only had a couple of touches in the last. So again, we talk about, Merrett gets nullified, who steps up? Well, Shiel did that, and yeah, I said to my mate that I was at the footy with as well, he feels like he's running on top of the ground, and you'd think it would be the opposite, and maybe that game time makes sense then when you say that.
Yeah, and I think as well they alluded to like how much those injuries had really hampered him, and like I think we think about where Heppel went, had those awful couple of years, really bad injuries, didn't play a great deal, came back and we're all like, gee, he just doesn't look at the pace. And I guess Shiel was kind of in that position where, you're a senior guy, you're the wrong side of 30, and you get an injury and it really takes you out of the game. And for someone who so much of his game was about being explosive, quick bursts, or as well as, big running minutes, I think really affected him as well. And, there was a time there where, I thought he was going to, go the way of a James Stewart and just float off into the abyss and we'd never see him again. But,
James Stewart's still on the list?
No. You
sure?
No.
You sure?
TBC.
Keep scrolling down.
TBC is
fine print.
I genuinely wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, TBC is written somewhere there.
All right.
But yeah, I thought he was, papers were signed. He was off to Saints or North at the end of the year and we'd never seen him play a senior game. But, they obviously had a plan and they believed that once he got the body right, he'd be there. And I think I watched a VFL game 4 or 5 weeks ago, whenever it was. And I was looking at him play and I'm like, this guy's never playing AFL again. Now that's how I felt. I was like, but I guess, because publicly they wouldn't go into the details of the injuries he's probably had. And then you look at him now and you're like, wow, for the rest of this year at least, next year's a different conversation. For the rest of this year, he's now a vital piece of this puzzle that hopefully gets us where we want to go.
Look, I think one of the best things that has happened to him has been a Durham and a Caldwell. I think that the pressure on your spot, particularly in that midfield now, it feels like, you were speaking about those attributes that he now has, 8 tackles and just a little bit more hardness. Again, these are the things we never would have spoken about in regards to Dylan Shiel before. But I do feel that he knows he has to bring his A game to be in that side. He played sub, about a month ago, was it? About a month? And, we're sitting here going, he had 2 touches in the last quarter. He had that whole quarter. He just couldn't do anything with it. But I just think that, it feels like the guys around him maybe are making him a better player too, keeping him accountable. And you now know if you go into that midfield, you can't be a one-way player. You have to be able to do both. Yeah. You have to be a hard dog at the contest. And 70% disposal efficiency as well is another thing that I get really excited about, because you were saying he used to be the criminal, him and McGrath and Parrish just bomb it long and hope for the best. Kept his head low. He looked like that mature head that he should be. The 31-year-old, he did look like he went, boys, we'll just slow it down. He knew when to slow it down. He knew when to go fast. It's amazing to see. 31 years old and he looks almost better than he did a couple of years ago. Yeah.
And I think now, assuming the midfield group, stays fit in a couple of weeks' time when Darcy Parish is ready to play footy, I expect him to be playing a couple of weeks in the VFL now. That's just where the midfield group is at right now. It looks good. It's fit. It's healthy. They're all firing pretty well for the most part. So, I don't think we're in a position now where anyone, probably bar Zack Meritt, walks straight back into the team from an injury. I think Darcy Parish is probably going to go spend, 1 or 2 weeks in the VFL to get his touch, get ready to go. And then, it's either going to be a very tough selection decision or, someone, cops a knock and, that sort of thing happens.
I think if I'm Ben Hobbs right now, I'm wondering how I get back in that side.
Yeah.
Because there was a time, particularly last year or even early this year, I thought he was always going to be on the bench and he'll come in. But I even look at him in the sub position. I went, well, shit, Nick Hind was playing bloody good football and he was still playing sub on the weekend. So you kind of do sit back and you go, I was at the VFL for a half and I was watching him and I was watching Sardis really closely and Nick Bryan going, okay, these are the guys. And Sardis was, he got a lot of the ball and Nick Bryan, he looked really good in the ruck. But the thing that I thought was really interesting was that the problems and the knocks we have on them in the AFL, they're the same problems in the VFL. Sardis, he can get those sort of easy ones, but his defence isn't good. Nick Bryan, his kicking's poor at any level. And Hobbsy, I don't know, he just felt like he struggled to get into the game in parts. I don't know how he finished the game. He probably had 800 touches and I look like an idiot. But yeah, I mean, I hope we talk about it a little later, but going forward, who gets out of that damn team, because
Will Setterfield's the other one. He's one now, and I I think I made a comment very early on in the year that I sort of said, look, I saw a scenario early in the season that if these guys establish themselves, there is a scenario where he might not be on the list next year, which is crazy to think because he's done so much good stuff for this team. But you think about the guys you've mentioned there, and if we're looking future ahead, ideally a Hobbs and a Sada to get it cracking this side, there might not be room for him anymore. I mean, obviously, if they do get, if Shiel does go, then that changes things up. But yeah, for years we always bemoaned the fact that we never had a strong midfield, but now it seems like there's a lot of guys really fighting for spots, and if it's not one of them, it's the other one standing up to get the job done. So it's bloody good.
It's a little exciting.
Yeah. Speaking of exciting, Nate Dogg, Nate Caddy, the kid can play. Oh. The kid can absolutely play. Obviously sprayed a couple of goals, but we don't mind that when you're a third gamer. But marking, awesome. Some really good use of the ball as well, and really thriving in that third tall role. Working off right and Langford, and yeah, just going to be a headache, I think, for some third-rate defenders in the competition because I don't think Melbourne will be sending Lever or May to young Nate Caddy, but yeah. Big future ahead of him, and hopefully stays on the park and stays fit.
Yeah, he's going to be a problem, and he's our problem, which is great. Just love watching him play. You just know he's got something about him. I think we all knew that even in the Dreamtime match, where he probably took a little bit of time to sort of get into it and pick up the pace, which is what we see all the time from debutants, but particularly those taller key position players. But you just felt that he was a lot more comfortable on Friday night. And I felt like every time he went near the ball, something good happened. And then when I was having a look at the stats today, he had 12 touches of the ball, 8 were score involvements. Yeah, so the stat backs that up. Yeah. That, every time he went near it, you felt like something good happened. That's because it did.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a really smart footballer as well. He knew when to come up to the contest. I said it after his first game as well, right? We see his athleticism and he's jumping at the ball and crashing the packs and taking marks, but his hands below his knees and his ability to be clean and deliver a really good handball to a running player pass is awesome. And that's where I think, probably not fair to say that he can play small, but I think in terms of a matchup for him, it's going to be really difficult because you play an undersized defender, he'll outmark you. And if you play a slow, lanky guy, he'll be too fast and agile. So, yeah, I'm really excited for what he's got up his sleeve for the remainder of the year because it's really hard to see him coming out of the side after that performance. Whether they want to manage him through, that's another question, but I don't think there'd be many Essendon fans that want to see him out of the side after that.
No.
I did have written next to Nate Caddy the Sash motto. It's almost it almost needs to be on a plaque. Simply must play.
Simply must play.
I was talking to my old man, Keithy boy, shout out. And we were talking about Nate Caddy because we were talking about Dermot Brereton a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it was even last week. He'd made a point of saying, geez, at 10, the Don's got a real deal getting Nate Caddy. And think, geez, top 10's a deal, is it?
Yeah.
And my old man was reminding me of Dodoro and how hard he actually worked to get up just that little bit in the draft last year. Gave a couple of extra picks to the Cats, swapped it over. To get him, and you can totally see why what I loved about him, aside from that intelligence that you spoke about, that he does really have that great footy IQ, there's nothing better than watching a guy know when to go for the ball, know when to jump. He hits it right at its highest point. It was really exciting seeing Harrison Jones doing it on one side and Nate Caddy doing it on the other. It was great. And even Nick, there was a passage where Caddy got it, then he had a great mark, then kicked it to Cox. Cox then kicks it across goal, and then Harrison Jones goes up.
Yeah.
And I just looked at all three of them and I was just salivating. I was just like, God, every single one of them, tall, takes a comfy mark high. Yeah. It was poetry. But, look, unless he has a few mares, which, to touch what he doesn't, he really, the next month should at the very least be his to to set himself. I don't know what that does for the Goldsteins and of the world, but I think you'll have, if Manure was sent down to Richmond in their worst days, I can't fathom what the Essendon fans would leave at Tullamarine if he got dropped.
Yeah, it'd be Nate
particularly if
Dog
it just said omitted.
Omitted, yeah. Every time he went near the ball, I screamed regulator at the top of my lungs. much to the amusement of a few people around me who were like, what the hell is this idiot going on about? But yeah, regulator. Get around him. And he was obviously picked 10, but because of the way the draft is now with, with compo picks and academy selections and all that, like I think if it was without them, I think he works out to be 6 or 7.
Yeah.
But like still, top 10 pick, and quite a few people who I know who don't support Essendon, who are just like, hey, I just caught 5 minutes of my team's VFL team. What's your team? Gee, that Caddy kid can take a hang, and I'm like, yeah, hopefully we'll get him in one day. And
keep your eyes off him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. He's ours.
You see the other players getting interviewed in the rooms, and sort of the media saying, "Oh my god, I can't believe the game he played," and they're all very much like, "We're not surprised.
Yeah,
we see this. We see this every day at training." So. There was no surprise from anyone else. Obviously, it was great for the fans that hadn't seen much of him or maybe didn't know too much about Caddy, but it didn't seem to be a surprise to those that train with him every day.
Especially Zack Meritt. I think he said that on 3AW. He did say, when he came to the club, we thought, geez, we've got something here. I think you even think back to those earliest days of preseason, he took that crazy hanger. And that was very exciting, but can't imagine what he's going to, if he does that on the big stage in the finals, you might need to visit me in hospital. I'll be passed out.
Yeah. But look, even just like long-term future, like, a few years of, goal kicking practice and getting that routine set, a 1-goal 3 suddenly becomes a 3-goals 1 or a 4-goal zip. And you're talking about a guy who actually teared the game apart with, those limited amount of possessions. And as long as we can keep him fit and keep him on the park and, long Essendon future ahead of him, 1,000 goals minimum, I reckon. No, I'm just kidding.
He does seem to go back and take his set shot really quickly. I don't know if that's something he's always done through his junior football or whether he just wants to not overthink it and just go and kick it through and get it done with. I'm not sure, but that's something I noticed on the weekend. I should have done my research and seen whether that's just his routine and what he does. Yeah. But it'd be interesting to see if once he settles in, a bit more experience, whether he slows that down or whether that's his thing. I really don't mind as long as they go through. But something I picked up.
It was great the commentators decided to really critique a 3-gamer's kicking motion. They went into deep detail about what's wrong with it. BT, what would you do to fix him? He's played 3 games. Just relax. Just relax. Nuffies at Channel 7.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was my other good. James, you got another one for me?
I thought Ben McKay's game was solid. He's probably had a bit of a form slump recently. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh saying that, but certainly haven't seen him at his best for a few weeks. And, you could probably say that about a few of our players up until Friday night, but 19 disposals, 11 marks, 8 intercept possessions. I thought just, again, really solid behind the ball and allowed the likes of Laverde and Ridley to kind of be a little bit more confident in them leaving their man to come and impact. So, I thought he had a nice rebound game, if you want to call it that. But I know that you maybe weren't as positive on some of his game.
Just don't let him kick. If you don't let him kick, just let him mark, handball. We're all good.
Yeah.
That's an All-Australian right there. Just don't kick the ball. I might be being a bit harsh because, it's just some of those kicks just sort of too risky, and they made me upset. But no, good game from him.
Apart from that.
Yeah. And I would say, although, he missed a lot of shots and we ended up getting a draw, but I would have said that Mychek absolutely got the better of him on Anzac Day. And in this scenario, I know Mychek got injured at the very end of the game, but, really ineffective, I think, for the most part. One part obviously due to delivery and, pressure up the ground and stuff like that as well. But, Yeah, he's definitely, like most Essendon footballers, suited to the dry conditions, not the wet conditions.
Boutique footballers.
But yeah, nice to see him back. And yeah, when he's comfortable, it's just that trickle down effects. If this is the trickle down economics of the Essendon backline, he is the cashed up man at the top, and it's trickling down to your Ridleys and your Lavertys and everyone
literally
else.
Is the cashed up man.
He literally is. He literally is. There you go.
It's the Malcolm Turnbull of the Essendon Football
Club. Yeah, I went with that analogy, not really know it was going, but it paid off in the end.
It's
I'm
great.
happy with that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great game. What about you, Ryan? Got someone else?
Yeah, look, there's a few I could point out. Obviously Harry Jones and a couple other guys. I think even Xavier Dersma had a good game, but I actually want to make this a bit of a broader one.
Okay.
I just want to talk about how great it was for us to be in a bad position and as a football club post-bye to see us fight back.
Well said.
We were in a poor spot. Essendon of old, even in that first quarter, I was thinking, here we go again. We're going to drop this one. We're going to miss finals. Rah, rah, rah. I was pretty dark. But to see us get that second quarter, come back, and I think it was the first couple of contests, they just looked hungrier after quarter time. And I was just really pleased to see us push back and then go forward with it. I think that was the best thing. And even, we've said it before that they definitely probably closed up shop a bit earlier, but there were certain moments that, they went back with the flight, took a good mark when we needed it. And I don't know, I just think from a team perspective, it was really great. And probably on top of that, broke the milestone curse too.
Yes.
That was great to see.
That was nice.
See players actually cheered off, at least happy after a milestone game.
Yes, yeah. It's few and far between. But yeah, you're right. Just the resolve to come back, definitely helps when you're down by, 20 odd points in the first quarter versus the third or the fourth. But yeah, just nice to respond, because I guess we were all sort of still sitting there going, what is this Essendon side going to do post-bye? Because it was great up to, and then it slowly started to look like it was going to unravel. But, I think this was just the confidence the supporter base can have that goes, no, we are still a pretty good side. It's still a very tight comp, and anything could still happen from here. But if you go and tick or cross every game for this year, you'll have way more ticks in terms of competingness, as Paco would say, versus the absolute shockers. And I think, hold on, I'm looking at the VFL ladder here, but if you look at the AFL ladder, as it loads here, there's only one team who's lost more games than Essendon, which is Sydney, because Carlton and Freo also lost 5 games. So, it's obviously one very tight, but, we've still done some really, really good things, and we're getting the wins. That's what matters.
So we're flag favourites?
Yeah, flag Dons 2024.
So you're saying there's a chance?
You're saying there's a chance, yeah. Anyway, I do want to talk about Harrison Jones real quick, because I liked it last week when he was playing on the wing. I think we saw really good signs, but I think this was more evidence to why it can be something really good. And I know I joked about, Richo 08 running man, but I think what it reminded me more as watching the full game was, if you guys recall, when we lost to St Kilda round 3 last year, and Mason Wood gave us an absolute lesson on being a good marking wingman. And that's what I was seeing in him, is this the ability to be an outlet mark, but also someone who can just fly in from nowhere. And for him, who's got such a great run and jump, not having, a gorilla from the other team blocking him and pushing him around, because, most wingmen are, usually lanky running type players. You just watched him just fly in just gracefully. There's no one getting in his way. Like, it's very hard to stop. And yeah, like, we sort of spoke earlier in the year. We're like, if Nate Caddy comes good, what happens to Harrison Jones? Yeah. Well, if Harrison Jones is a winger now, and it looks really good, like, he's a Don next year. Like, we're not moving him on the way that he's playing for this team. And, definitely help with some better conditions. But it was really funny seeing Jones on one wing and Nick Cox on the other wing, and it wasn't going to shit. And I was like, okay, there's something here. And like you said, like, tall, lanky guys taking really high marks. I had Pies mate messing me after the game because, man, you guys just so hard to stop marking the ball. Yeah. And yeah, let's pray for drought and let's keep the G as dry as we can for the remainder of the year. And who knows what happens. But yeah, I just wanted to make that point on Jonesy because I thought he was really good.
Yeah, it's very valuable to have well, I say the outlet kick to have both wings, accompanied by guys that can take a really strong contested mark. And you think when you have that, you probably give away a little bit of, ball movement, I suppose is the best way to put it, from both a running point of view, but then actual decision-making and disposal. But I thought Jones in particular, his decision-making and ball is quite solid for a big guy. So he's definitely showing that he's got that ability to play that role for us. And, the way he played on the weekend, I can't see them moving him out of there.
No, definitely not. I've got a couple of questions for you, gentlemen. Question number one, can Todd Goldstein get back into this team?
On the evidence of the game over the weekend, no.
Okay. Is there a scenario where you think it would be, like looking at the fixture ahead, do you think there's a game where the dual ruck is better? Obviously knowing that someone, a caddy might have to be managed.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. I mean, I guess it really is, and it's a great problem to have, because his involvement in the side is now going to be based on, is Peter Wright fit? If so, they seem like he's cement in that team. He's locked. Because if they want him to obviously play in the ruck and pinch hit there. If he's available and Draper's available, and they want to play Caddy, then it's very hard to see them doing that without removing Peter Wright. But it just doesn't seem like it's in their thoughts to have Peter Wright out of that side. It's because I could see them going, hey, Nate, you're all good. You take a rest. You've played a couple of weeks. I could see him probably coming in then. But other than that, I really don't see it. And if they rest Nate Caddy,
Right.
Come on, let's just think for the future. Are we going to play the kid who's 19 and looks like he's the second coming of Christ, or are we going to play Todd Goldstein, part-time coach?
Part-time coach.
Yeah,
I
think it's very hard if they want to play Nate, if they want to play Peter Wright, if they want to play Draper. I think it's probably irresponsible to play another tall.
Of course.
Because I think that's our biggest issue, I think, we've had as a side, probably this year more so than ever. It's getting that mix right. Some weeks it looks great, other weeks it doesn't. It's trying to find that perfect mix. And I think we're still in the I think we're still trying to figure it out. But, Nick Cox, he seems like he's sticking on a wing. Harry Jones sticking on a wing. There's a lot of tall guys there. I don't know if old Toddy's going to get back in unless they realise, Draper's a shit kick and he maybe needs to go and figure that out. But no, I think it's going to be very challenging.
Yeah, I think it's really just going to come down to management of players. So, Draper, as we know, has had his own injury concerns. Obviously, Nate being a first-year player, and I know it will upset you. It might be for the benefit of the future that he has a rest at some point. I'm just saying.
Why do you hurt me, Rob?
Yes. I'll ask you a more difficult question though. Is how does Mr. Dyson Heppel come back into this side? Because all the people who played in his position, I thought were all pretty good. And, I obviously knocked Jakey pretty hard on this podcast, but Jakey played a very, very good game.
Did his
job. I was really happy with the way Jake played. He was actually one of his better games, I will say. Must be, trying to stick up his old man, who's the CEO of Collingwood. Exactly. But, I look at that and I'm like, who comes out? Is it does Hind come out as the sub and then someone goes to sub role? It's hard because we obviously want Heps to play on this side and we'd love, we want Heps to be there, hopefully when we're playing a final.
250 is a perfect number to end it.
Yeah. Can't say that. But yeah, it's a challenging one.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote down on my notes, I don't think we should have any changes, but Heppel will come back in. They'll find a way to bring him back in.
Yeah.
But someone's going to be incredibly unlucky. I guess my first thought is that Jake Kelly comes out as the most like for like. Although I had him in my goods as well. I thought the job he did on Bobby Hill was awesome. And he also went to Dacos around stoppages and did a great job. So again, we give Kelly a role. He plays it. It's as simple as that. I don't think Heppel should be coming back into the side. I don't think there should be any changes for that matter. The way that I do try and get him back is maybe sub, but then he's not a sub player.
No, not at all.
So you sort of put the line through that. I mean, the fact that we're here scratching our head trying to find a position for him maybe indicates that he shouldn't for now.
Yeah. Have a couple of weeks off.
Yeah, rest up.
Head up to Noosa, get a tan, come back. Yeah, it's all
Why
good.
not?
But if I put a gun to your head, James, it's like one player out right now. Is it going to be Kelly?
Yeah, I think Kelly, just from a structure point of view and like for like, I'm not really taking anyone else out of that back six because I think we lose something, whether it's, it's even stupid saying it, but, a Redmond, for example, he provides so much run.
Yeah.
You swap that with Heppel, you immediately have two very similar players in Kelly and Heppel, and you lose a lot there.
I would.
I don't even know. I'm trying to think of something,
It's
but
hard.
I can't.
It's
so.
hard. Yeah, I'd say the only other ones you'd look at would either obviously behind as the sub, and then someone else goes to sub, or it's Cox, because obviously when he was the sub recently, that's usually an indicator of the tier list of the team, if so to speak. But yeah, that's it. Like, I mean, I know Perkins has been in and out of form, but he's valuable to our midfield setup. With like, we don't want to fuck with that right now. And then you're not going to take any of the forwards away, I don't think. Like, even though some of them have had their moments, but yeah, it is a tough one.
It's funny you mentioned Cox there because we talk about the one ruck structure now. Well, I think Cox becomes even more valuable there. He did some really good work in the ruck on the weekend. You take Cox out to fit Heppel in. Does your one ruck structure now look a little bit different because now Wright has to be the full second ruck? It was nice seeing Cox be able to jump in, do a really reasonable job, and allow Wright to stay closer to goal and stay dangerous. So, yeah, you mix and match one to fit the other, it impacts the overall structure.
Can we give Cox a little shout out because he actually is becoming very important. Like, very quietly, he's he started off as a unicorn, but I think right now he's just a very good, stable horse. But he's right now he is very valuable in very modest ways. I think he's great below his knees, particularly for a guy of his size. His work, you're right, in the ruck around the ground. He's getting that neutral ball. He might not win it, but he'll definitely get the neutral ball. I just think
dare we say a young Blitzars?
Oh, would you? Oh, that'd be froth at the mouth, Jesus. But he even said, wasn't it?
That's what he said. That's what him and Brad Scott both said. Brad didn't say it to me directly. There was a group of us there, but Nick said it to me directly. They both people mentioned Blitzar, so there's been a conversation there, and I'm sure he's had his highlight reel out and all his tapes, and he's been watching it because you think about who is the ultimate big man utility in the comp. It's him, at least in recent years, and yeah, he's just a bit of a miss to fix it. And right now we only need him to play on the wing, but there might come a time years down the line where he's one end of the ground, or maybe he's in the ruck. Who knows?
So maybe right now we're pretty much saying it's Jake Kelly and Nick Hine, probably the only two that would be in danger of old Heps taking their spot, because the way we're talking about Coxie, I think he's got more value than probably both of them in what he can do in his versatility. So really interesting.
Yeah, unless you're looking to play a Heppel on a wing, which I know he can do a little bit, but obviously his speed can be a bit of an issue at times.
Yeah, I prefer winning.
Not bad. Any bads from you gentlemen? I didn't really have a great deal, then, to be honest. I've been pretty happy in the afterglow of this game. You got anything to flag? Any gripes? I mean, I wrote down early stoppage work, but we obviously fixed that pretty quickly. And there was a few glaring moments from a few of our mids. I know Perkins got absolutely beaten up by Chris for a little bit there, but he fixed it and was good in later parts of the game. Like, there's not really a great deal to gripe about.
Yeah,
Collingwood supporters as a whole, but
probably fell into the same. Just so positive. I didn't really have much in the bads. I did have Archie Perkins there. Probably a bit harsh to go back to back on Perko, because I think he was my only bad a couple of weeks ago as well. Mainly for that effort on Crisp. I was at the game, so I didn't exactly see the lead up to the stoppage. Just saw the ball going through. But that was a really weak effort, and you have no doubt that'll be shown at the team meeting. He did have 21 pressure acts. He had 4 tackles, so a slow improvement, nothing amazing, but called him out for that. A couple of weeks ago, and he responded to a certain extent.
But I thought he played a really good role in the midfield mix, and like a lot of the players at the time were going, he was going to go it at times as well, because obviously other players were going to Dacos, and I think he did his job pretty well. So
I've seen a few people say that maybe he needs a week in the twos, maybe not so much from a performance point of view, but just to shake him up a little bit from an attitude point of view. Is that something that you are buying into at all?
I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to say. Unless you I don't know what his attitude's like. I'm not there. I can only go by what I see on field, and I felt last week he just wasn't able to put in the effort with the way our midfield mix was. But I feel this week with Shiel there, with an extra guy there to mix it around, he played a little bit more of his half forward role as well, which I think is where he play some of his best footy. Like I know he played that amazing game against Hawthorn on the guts, but he does look most natural as that half forward pushing up to mid player, I think. So like I'm fine with him being in the team. Like I think he's almost too good, like talent wise, to drop, even though there's obviously other stuff you want to work out of him, but I feel like we'd be putting him back maybe further than we'd want by dropping, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he's definitely too hot for the VFL. But I think if we're going to take him back to the VFL, I'd be sending him back only so he could work on a particular form of his game. I remember years ago, Kyle Langford went to the twos and they said, we're sending him there so he can work on his mid-craft. Waste of time in the long run. But if they want to craft him into a certain type of player and they don't feel they've got the flexibility to do that in the AFL, I think that's probably the only reason to take him back. I hope there isn't an attitude problem. I think that's just sort of how he looks as a human.
He's laconic.
Yeah, that's just how he is. But I think you're right, James. I think, I was ready to dunk him in that first quarter. But yeah, I think you're right. I think, he figured out what the role was, and that sort of half forward area is spot on for him. And, eventually he might be able to sneak forward and snag a couple of goals. But yeah, overall, I think he's okay. I had a bigger, it's nitpicky. It's not nitpicky. It's Sam Draper's ball use.
Yes. That's fair.
I used to fear only one player with the ball, and that was Dyson Heppel coming out of the back 50. If you're religious, you just sign of the cross and you're just like, come on, just do this. But it's Sam Draper now. He had 15 disposals. He went at 53%.
Hey, that's 53 up on last week by foot. So that's an improvement.
Look,
that's
I can't argue with you. He had 4 turnovers. He had 1 goal, 1. He had 5 marks, which was okay. That was towards the back end of the game, though.
He kicked a goal. Like, I mean, I was going that, and I was like, this is not going to go through.
Helicopter.
Yeah, I was like, this ain't going to throw, but it did. Through.
It did go through. When it went through, I was just, I shut my eyes. I said to my wife, I can't watch.
Yeah.
But I do think that obviously we can't do anything now. It's a preseason thing. Someone's just got to teach him how to kick better. Because he's going to get a lot more of the ball. We hope he gets more of the ball. He's that type of player, I think. We need him to be being more effective with it. I don't need him to be at 90% efficiency. 70's fine.
Okay.
So I just need another 17%.
17%.
And that'll be fine. And I'll leave Peter Wright alone this week.
Yeah. No.
I guess the counter argument to that, though, is that the way that he plays, it's kind of that chaos ball. Yeah. The back six of the opposition can't predict it because we can't predict it and he can't predict it. Maybe that like chaos and crush the pack and torp it forward or, handball it over the top and demand it back and boot it. Maybe that chaos is...
There's some Div 12 Resi's energy.
Yeah. I have described him as an untrained dog off the leash at a park. You just let him off the leash and hope for the best.
Yeah.
And that is some of his best work, but... that's only occasionally nice to see. Sometimes when he kicks it forward and it's just like it's upended and it just looks unco all day. But that is like, again, there's few bads this week. That was probably my nitpicky one.
Yeah, I think it's just like we know the incredible things he can do, but maybe it's just a bit more of those simple stuff. Just continue to get that right. You don't always have to try and take on 3 players and dance around them and do some crazy kick. Like he almost kicked in a really good goal there doing that. But sometimes it's okay just to dish it off.
That goal of the year ruined him. He tries to do it 3 times a game now.
Yeah. Went to his head. We'll look to have a little break, everyone. People may have seen on social that we had a little giveaway for some tickets to the game against the D's on Saturday, as well as accommodation as well, which is pretty amazing. So well done to Kate, who won that. I DM'd her over the weekend, and she's been set up with a apartment and free tickets. Like, what a winner. All you had to do was to like a couple of pages and tag a mate, and that's all it was.
Good on you, Kate.
How good's that? Easy peasy. Let's take a break, everyone, and we're going to come back with some hot takes. Oh boy, stick around. Welcome back. Part 2 of the show. It is time, of course, for hot takes. We should probably put our headphones on, gentlemen. I realize we haven't done that leading in. Usually we do that during the break, but look, a bit of live meeting going on here as we put our cans on. So I reckon we probably start by playing the intro, shall we? It's a good place to start, wouldn't it be, Rob? Get that ready.
Thanks, Rob. It's that time of the week where we get some totally rational and well-adjusted opinions onto the pod. On the Sash, it's Hot Takes.
Hot Takes.
think I did the same thing last week and not have the volume up because I ride the iTunes volume like a little mixer here on the computer so I can fade it out so it doesn't just play into the next random clip I have on my iTunes. But anyway, enough about me. Sorry to everyone who didn't make it because, oh boy, there was so many of these to go through. It took up most of my morning. Now, there was obviously a pretty big theme considering we beat Collingwood. There's a particular meme that we all love very dearly that got mentioned a few times. So if you're one of the 50 people who sent that in, sorry, I'm only going to play a couple of them because I think the first time will be funny, but by the time we get to number 50 of someone saying it, well, we would have heard it enough. So we'll just start with a couple and then we'll move on.
I disagree. It does not get old. It does not get old.
All right, so this is our Hurdy's Heroes to get us started, everyone. So let's crack in.
It doesn't get any better than that, champion. I'll tell you what. To put up with the shit we've had to put up with for the last few years, it's been a fucking nightmare. We hate it, right? Then to come out here and pump these arseholes who have done nothing but hang shit on us for so long. Get a big dog up your Collingwood. You fucking deserve it. Fuck you all.
That's the
Go Plains.
Oh,
I want that at my funeral.
yeah. That guy is a living legend. He's a living legend. If anyone knows him, I should get him on.
Yeah, do we know this man?
Yeah,
I was going to say, can we?
yeah, I'll get him on. Yeah, if someone knows him, I'm sure someone does. I'm sure he's someone's dad.
Maybe we just have to hang out outside the MCG after a win. He's got to be there.
Yeah, he's got to be there. Yeah, no, I'll interview him. I'll ask him about what it's like being a living man because I was thinking on the way. I was thinking on the way here, and look, I know we're obviously biased being Dons, but I think if we're doing AFL meme tier list. After Brett Kirk thanks Basil, I reckon that he's number 2. In terms of like things said on a microphone, I think this guy's number 2 for
Type
mine.
Media did something about that this week. They had all these, the most famous AFL memes. He was in there.
Yeah, exactly. He's right up there.
Get a big dog up here.
Next one is from Ben. Thank you, Ben.
Oh, mate. Am I having a suspicious start outside the precinct hotel? Because in the distance, I can hear a chugga, 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 chugga. Woo, woo! 4-in-1 train, baby. We got robbed last week. Like, I'm some bullshit. Like, we were always good. I was never worried. We got nothing to worry about. This year's our year, baby. Go Donnies.
Oh, thanks, Ben. That was good.
Hey, where's the
think what
Jesse
he-
Express?
I think that's what he heard. I think he heard Jesse coming out of the
Like
MCG.
Jay going, choo, choo, choo.
I was only thinking on the way in, I was thinking about maybe on Amazon I can get Jesse like a conductor's kit.
Yeah.
Maybe like I think we have to get him one. I think.
Yeah. Get him one of the tickets bags. He can be the tickets please guy. Tickets please. Next one is hashtag stand by herd. So we love this one. This will be good.
Boys, this be the Pies. How good's that? It doesn't get any better than that, champion. I'll tell you what. To put up with the shit that we've put up with for the last few years, it's been a fucking nightmare. We hate it, right? Then to come out and pump these arseholes who have done nothing but put shit on us for so long. Get a big dog up, you Collingwood. You fucking deserve it. Fuck you all.
Yeah.
That last
Up
bit,
the Plains.
Oh, man.
I still think the best bit is he grabs the microphone as
Yeah.
well when he does that. Particularly that last bit. Fuck you all.
I just love the way that he says champion to the guy who's interviewing him, which is
I
like,
also
really like.
enjoy whoever he's with, whether it's his son or his mate, just at the end goes, yeah. What he said.
Yeah, what he said. All right,
So
well,
good.
all right. Well, I've front ended us with the get a dog upper, and then we'll move on to some other stuff. Cause
Oh.
yeah. Next one is marry me, Merrett.
Oh, Zachy boy, the Brownlow medal's calling. That's it. That's all I've got. Don't get excited. I don't have a full song, but how good is our fucking skipper? Also, mate, Caddy looked pretty fucking good. Up the fucking plains. Yow!
Zack Meritt's pretty good.
Just a little bit.
pretty good. Zack Meritt's pretty good. I put I think I put $20 at the start of the season for him to finish top 3 in the Brownlow, and now that Isaac Heaney potentially may be ineligible, that's looking pretty good right now.
It's
So,
looking bloody good.
What odds did you get for top 3?
I don't know, I think if he finished top 3, I think I'll win like $100 or something. Yeah. Something like 5 to 1. I don't know. Something like that. Nothing crazy. Next one is from Balin. Thank you, Balin.
I'm just going to say, I'm so happy that we bring Shiel into the team. He was great tonight. I reckon our midfield's actually looking way better with him in. He's a good replacement till Parrish comes back. And fuck yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, he's right though. I thought, Dylan Shiel definitely needs more shouts than when we gave him. He was very good. He was very, very good. Speaking of Dylan Shiel, this is Epic Boss 123 with something Dylan Shiel themed.
Hey, Dill, don't make it bad. Take being dropped for half the season and make it better. Remember to let Brad Scott into your heart. Then you can start to bloody cook Nick Dacos. Get a big dog up your Collingwood. I don't think I've been happier in my life. Oh.
Yeah, that was good. I was hoping a bit more of the chorus with that one, but yeah, I like that a lot.
I love the creativity of the people that call in. I just think it makes my day and my week.
Yeah, they certainly do. Next one is from Piers. Thank you very much, Piers. Short one here.
Great to get the win last night against the white and black assholes. I think they're going to get absolutely pumped by Geelong next week, so let's go Dons.
That's a friend of mine, so I had to play that one. Next one is Bleeding Red and Black.
Well, I've just woken up after a blissful sleep, after a wonderful win where I was actually had given up after first quarter. I'm going to be honest, I'd given up on the boys. Anyway, this morning I've woken up and I've realised I haven't switched my calendar over to July, and I've got a Bombers calendar. I switched it over and saw that July's pin-up boy was Jye Caldwell, and I couldn't think of anything better. And as we see across the country, people are trying for dry July. I am reclaiming that, and we are now going to be calling this Jye July.
Yes.
We're going to celebrate all things Jye Caldwell in this month.
Yes.
In the lead up to December, which is also another fantastic month. Up the plains.
Yes, I'm big on Jye July for the rest of the month. Jye July is a thing, and we're going to push that very hard. I like that. I was trying to think who's August. It's hard to do anything for August, to be honest, but yeah.
No.
Think about that one. Come
leave it with me.
Come back to that one. If
James, that's your weekend.
Yeah, come back to that one. Next one is from Garrett from Canada. Here we go. This will be good.
Well, boys, look like the depression is over. Fuck you, Collingwood. Well, I got to say sorry to Dylan Shiel. I thought you were washed, and you proved me wrong. Jye Caldwell, a well-oiled machine, literally, as he reminds me of the greased-up deaf guy from Family Guy. But what a beast. Caddy, young gun, looking good. Ridley had a good game, I like to think. But I know you guys appreciate songs and poems, so here you go. Roses are red, violets are blue. Get a big dog up, you Collingwood. You fucking deserve it. Fuck you all. Up the plains.
Oh, I love that. Just there's something about that accent that just makes it all the better too.
Yeah. If I do it like a word can on the end of this episode, get a big dog up here is going to be the most used words for the night. Let's keep rolling. This one is from I Told You There Was Hope. What have I told you so here?
I told you there was hope. I told you there was hope last week. Yes, it was horrible last week, but last night, recording this on a Saturday morning, last night was just simply fantastic. Apart from that first quarter, you can't complain. You really cannot complain with our performance. Blue collar, tough, at the contest constantly. Zack Meritt, you are a superstar. Jye Caldwell, equally as good. Nate Caddy, welcome to the AFL. You really made your mark. And just a little shout out to Harrison Jones as well, playing so well on a wing. I'm a little bit worried, though, about Archie Perkins and where he sits in this team. He seemed a bit out of it last night. But all in all, you can't complain. There is hope. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Up the plains.
That was definitely not Merrett who sent that in, so that was good.
It's like the anti-Mert.
Yes.
It's like Bizarro Mert.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the anti-Mert. I've got one for you a bit later on, which I think you're going to really enjoy. The next one, as I scroll up, there's so many. This is from Conor from WA. This is a nice one from Conor, so thanks, Conor.
Hey, fellas. First hot take I've ever sent in, so I just want to say great work, love your pod, love all your work. How good was last night? Seriously. We usually see articles of players sort of, talking it up, like they understand that things aren't going well and that they're going to go on field and put in a good field performance. And we all know how usually that sort of pans out. But how good they went out and they actually did it. They backed it up. How fucking good. Like, I can't really name all the players that had a great night last night because I've only got fucking 90 seconds. But Caldwell, beast. Durham, beast. Fuck. Caddy. Oh, man, the potential. It's unreal. Seriously, like, there's some players playing some good footy right now. There's some playing some average footy, but guess what? They're doing the work. They're doing the job. Fuck, I really hope that this is the corner that the Essendon Football Club needed to turn because it's been a long, painful time, especially being a fucking Western Australian Essendon supporter. Come on, boys. Love the pod. Up the fucking plains.
Yeah. Lots of energy there from Conor, which I liked.
Good rev up.
Yeah, real good rev up, that one. Now to get back onto absolute stupidity. So this is from Get a Big Dog Up Your 69. So this will be good.
I woke up with your name on my lips. I woke up with your lips on my imagination. Ooh. Did you wake up with my name on your lips? Or am I all alone in this infatuation? Oh, yeah. Oh, Caddy, when you touched my soul in the candlelight. Oh, Caddy. Caddy, when I lost control in the heat of the night. Oh, Nate, Caddy, can't get you off my mind. Give Caddy a 30-year contract. Caldwell is so fucking hot. And for those Collingwood supporters that have put nothing but shit on us for all these years, get your huck ready because you'll be touring on this stiffy up the plains.
I think that last bit might have been inspired by the dish.
Yeah, there was a bit of dish energy there at the end.
Oh, brilliant.
I haven't had the word stiffy for a while.
Yeah.
Can we at the end of the season, is there any chance all of these songs can be put together in a form of album that maybe could be purchasable?
Best of compilation.
Please.
Best of compilation.
Just the songs, all of the beautiful songs. And then there's a poetry corner, naturally.
Yeah.
But these are too good to never see the light of day.
I'll take an ad out on like late night TV. It's the best of rock and roll compilation. One of those ones. Yeah.
If Michael Bublé can sell the same Christmas album every year, we can sell a few of these.
Yeah, we can sell the hot takes best of. All right, where's my next one? God, there's so many here. Chris, thank you, Chris. Bit of change of pace this one.
G'day, fellas. What a win. What a win. Firstly, great to get the milestone Moz off and win for Pidge. Good to see Pidge also win the Battle of the Wellness Centres against the Dacos brothers. So Pidge is supreme in that department. It was also good to see us win the hot battle. Like, there's no question when you've got Perko, hot, Caldwell, hot, Jones on a wing, fucking chef's kiss, whoever decided to do that. But Sammy Durham v Nick Dacos, there's just no question that Durham is the hottest player in the AFL right now.
Ooh.
And, there's just no comparison. I'm pretty sure Dacos is still in his back pocket. So get a dog up, you Collingwood. You fucking deserve it. Fuck you all.
Yes.
I think everyone just finishes with one of those, which is great. But yeah, the Battle of the Wellness Centre has absolutely got me because I didn't realise that the day classes also had a little, wellness place. So I thought that was really funny. I thought that was very, very funny. Let's keep going. Got a few more before we wrap up for a night. This one's from Jackie. We always enjoy these. Thank you, Jackie.
Ready, set. What do we say about the Magpies?
Boo. Sit. Sit.
Oh.
Boo.
Yeah, and what about Darcy Moore?
Sit.
Like Dacos?
Boo.
What else?
Soft steak off.
Yeah, what about him? What about him?
He's a good player.
Oh.
He's my favourite player, Collingwood, ever.
Oh, you do like them? I thought you just said they were shit. Didn't you say fuck off Collingwood?
Fuck off, Collingwood.
Jackie. Yeah, as a parent, I must say, this is unbelievable parenting 101 right here. Just teaching them from a young age. Can't say I'd be allowed to use that language in my household, but that is some serious commitment. Although I did love the kid being like, I actually really like Nick Dacos.
That really sensible response. No, I think he's been playing very well this season.
Yeah, he's a very, very, very handy player. Very handy player. Oh, that was funny. Let's keep going. This is David Attenbomber. This will be good.
In the footballing kingdom, there is no greater rivalry than that of the mighty plane and the pesky magpie, as both icons of the sky are constantly battling for air superiority. However, although the magpie may battle valiantly to protect its filthy, toothless, brain-dead supporter base, at the end of the day there can only really be one winner, and it is the mighty plane. Well, because one mascot is a man-made flight-killing machine and one is just a fucking bird. Up the plains, up the plains.
What just happened? Was that AI?
I don't know what it is.
Because that was phenomenal.
I don't know.
For the first 5 seconds, I thought, geez, I haven't seen this doco.
Yeah.
It has to be every week now. Every week.
David Attenbomber.
That was
every week.
Best. I want that on a T-shirt.
David Attenbomber. Yeah. Whoever spent the money on that. Actually, no, that was David himself. There's no AI. What are we talking about? No AI. David's there back in the UK. I mean, he's only 100 years old, but he's always loved the planes.
That was unreal.
Oh, God. All right, let's keep going. We've still got more to go. Now, you said before, the opposite of Merrett. This is the anti-Merrett. Send one in, so this will be a change.
Yeah, hi, my name is the anti-Merrett, and I'm a Collingwood supporter, and well, fuck the Pies. Yeah, they were cold tonight. It was just an insipid performance. Fucking insipid. Yeah, it was absolute dog shit. You know, that AFL plant that we've got, his name's Craig McKay. He's brought in to win us a fucking premiership, get our hopes high. Just to cut us down again. It's absolute dog shit. Can't believe we lost to a fucking team like Essendon. The whole footy world says they're shit. You know what? They're not. They're actually pretty fucking good. Yeah, they're going to win a final this year. They're going to break that bloody 7,246 day curse, whatever it is. It's fucked. Yeah. Anyway, all those Collingwood supporters, all those Collingwood fans, Collingwood coaches, they go in the bin. Dick Nakos in the bin. Bo McCurry, I know you didn't fucking play. You always burn the Dogs every single time you play. In the bin. All of you guys in the bin. Up the fucking plains.
Oh, there we go. The anti-Merrett.
The anti-Merrett.
Yeah, the Collingwood Merrett. There we go. They exist.
Yeah, he's got a similar vibe, though. He still hates his own team.
Yep. I've got a few more to go here. They're all good, so I want to play all of them. This is Benny Bopalupo. Here we go.
This song's dedicated to Brad Scott in relation to our boy Jye Caldwell, who we all owe a big apology. Selected on the wing last night pre-game. 0 hour, 9 a.m. But I'm gonna be back in defence by then. I reckon I nailed that. I miss defence so much. I miss that life.
So good.
Scotty says just for a taste. Told him to go fly a fucking kite. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till game day brings me round again to find I'm not the player they think I am at home. Oh no, no, no. I'm a back pocket man. Back pocket man. Should announce my forwards all alone.
That was beautiful. That was
I
beautiful.
kind of was expecting it to keep going.
Keep going,
I was having
yeah.
a great time.
You wanted it to keep going.
Now I need the full version of that.
Another few more minutes.
Greatest hits. Great.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Okay. Who have I got next? Beck. There we go. Beck. Thank you very much, Beck.
Hey lads, Beck here. I know I usually join you from just outside of New York City, but this time around I thought I'd up my game a little bit, and I'm actually joining you today from Albania. Watched the game in Macedonia. Had a little trouble trying to get connected because the Wi-Fi was a bit dodgy, and of course Euro Cup was playing on every single freaking screen in every single pub and every restaurant, so I'm just watching it on my small little phone. But what a game. What a game to beat the freaking Pies. Anyway, then we just crossed the border into Albania today. And what is the first thing that I see? It is the Albanian flag. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but it is a silhouetted black double-headed eagle in the center of a red background. That's right, boys. The Bombers are everywhere. Now, the red in the Albanian flag stands for bravery, strength, valor, and bloodshed. Exactly what our boys brought to the G on Friday. I think this just says everything. So proud of our boys. So proud to be able to be a huge Bombers fan and watch the game from anywhere in the world. And, just one more thing. Nate, Caddy in, and sorry, Peter, but I think it's time for you to take a break. Don's footy, baby. Up the plains.
There we go. Bit of geography lesson for us all there.
Bit of a low-key flex on all the travelling.
Yeah. I know one of our old listeners from back in the early days, Danny's an Albanian man, so he might be able to verify for me if that is correct. I'm sure it is. But yeah, that was great. So a bit of a lesson for everyone here. Oh. You learn stuff on the Sash every week.
It's very worldly, isn't it?
It's a worldly program.
Educational.
Yeah, educational. Yeah, we're in Albania, we're in Canada, and we've got David Attenborough on the program.
Little kids learning some new words.
Little kids swearing.
They're learning a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And they're going to learn some more because we've got two more to go, and this is the dish.
So bye-bye Collingwood Pies. Merrett and Shiel made a joke of you guys. Them good old boys were kicking goals left and right, singing this'll be the day the Pies die. Yes, this'll be the day the Pies die. All right, fellas. I come here for two reasons. That's to sing songs and to have this arse eaten. And I'm fresh out of songs. So to Craig McKay and the rest of the Magpie Army, I hope you guys have a nice place to take me out for dinner. Because I like to be wined and dined before you can eat this arse. Up the plains.
Oh God.
It is insane how much joy that brings me.
Oh, boys. Well, I'm seeing stuff. I've laughed so hard this bloody segment. God. Well, boys, we're going to wrap this up with one final contributor, of course. Some say he is a distant relative of Nate Caddy, while others say they spotted him wandering around Windy Hill in the middle of the night. But this is the Lurker to finish off.
Coaches coach creatively.
Essendon edges expertly. Collingwood crumbles crucially. Merrett manoeuvres masterfully. Nate's nascent naturally. Caldwell plays well perpetually. Up, up, mighty plains.
There we go. Nascent is a word that I was not familiar with until I heard that.
Well, this is an educational
Yeah,
show.
yeah, exactly.
Adjective, just coming into existence and beginning to display signs of future potential.
Jesus, that's perfect.
Gee, that is
the perfect word, really.
It is. It is. It's a highbrow show, this. Highbrow show.
This has got like government funding written all over it.
Yeah, exactly.
How do we get one of those ABC grants?
Yeah.
The dish might have had something.
Yeah.
Hey, that's cultural, and that's the fine dining.
Yeah. I'm going for like a South Park energy on this show, but behind all the stiffies and asses being eaten, it's actually a very highbrow program.
There's a lot of life lessons.
Something
here.
for everyone.
Yeah,
I'd
exactly.
say.
Something for everyone. Even the kids, apparently. Even the kids, apparently. Even the kids. Well, boys, we're going to look to wrap things up for an evening. Quick shout out to everyone who came and said hello to me on Saturday night. Shout out to Trav, who sat behind me. I had a very good long chat with him and also his Collingwood friend, but we'll leave that one there. But yeah, shout out to Trav and also everyone else who sat around me and came and said hello. Always love having a chat with a Sash viewer or listener, so it's great to have you on board. James, final thoughts from you, mate?
Final thoughts. It doesn't get any better than that, champion. I'll leave it there.
There we go. Ryan?
Oh, look, it's nothing better than get a big dog up to Collingwood. You fucking deserve it. And my favourite bit, fuck you all.
Yeah. Well, everybody, Thursday's pod. Normally, Thursday's pod is a premium-only pod, but if you've been listening to the show for a long, long time, you will know that once a season, sometimes twice a season, but generally once a season, Essendon plays Melbourne, and me and my old mate Adrian from the Debrief spar together over a podcast about our clubs, and for the first time in a little while, we're probably got the upper hand coming into this one, which feels nice. So stay tuned to that. I'm not sure if I'm going to record it Wednesday night or Thursday night with him, but that's going to be out for free for everybody. Depending if we do it remote or in here, I'm not sure if I'll do video, but I'll try and put something out on the YouTube for you all as well. But yeah, extra free show for everyone this week. But if you do want to sign up to be a premium member, it's $5 a month or $42 for the year. You also get access to the premium-only Discord. I mentioned that on last Thursday's show, and it's been inundated with people coming in who obviously didn't realise how to join. But now they're all in there, and you can see the pinned message, which is Merrett going ballistic in the Cats game. So that's a great reason to be on there. And also the discussion's obviously very good as well. So
highly cultural.
Yes, highly cultural. Just like the show. Show. Worldly program. I'm actually going to change this show from being under sports to under world, I think, after this, just so...
I fucking dare you.
Yeah, I wonder what Spotify or Apple's going to be. They're like, what's this? The Sash? Yeah.
Get a lot of Albanian listeners.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a story for off here that I'll tell about that anyway. Everyone, thank you very much for joining us. What a win. Up the mighty plains. Let's keep it rolling. We'll see you next time. Bye.